The story of World War II and the connection to the war in Gaza today. In 1893, a Swedish man was born. His name was Ericson, and when he grew up, he was working in the oil business. He was a specialist in producing synthetic oil. Now, in his early years, he became a pro-Nazi, a real pro-Nazi. He supported Nazi Germany so much that he built a big refinery in Sweden in order to supply uh, Germany with oil. Now, Germany don't have oil in Germany itself, so the oil was coming either from Russia or from Ploiești in Romania. Now, the oil from Russia was cut off immediately when Hitler declared Operation Barbarossa to invade Russia, and that was the end of it. The oil from Ploiești was flowing to Germany until the American Air Force from North Africa bombed heavily Ploiești, and the damage was really extensive, and the amount of oil, if any, was very minimal. So they needed oil to run their tanks, trucks, and planes. The solution was Ericson. He is the specialist, and he came to Germany to build refineries for producing synthetic oil. He visited Nazi Germany from 1939 till 1945 30 times. Now, when the United States realized that the Swedish person who support Nazi Germany, who have a factory, a refinery to give them oil, he was declared a persona non grata, and he was not able to go to the United States anymore. Then his own brother was disgusted so much by him being a Nazi, a pro-Nazi, he disconnected any ties with his own brothers. At that time, Ericson repainted, and he came and offered his services to the Office of Strategic Services Operation, the SOE, the predecessor of the CIA, and he became a spy, an American spy in Germany. Ericson was working for the United States and the Allied. Now, what happened? He went to Germany, he built for them a big refinery for synthetic oil, returned back and gave all the information, and surprisingly enough, about 5-6 months later, this factory was bombed and blasted. So he was asked to come again and to build another refinery in a different location. Surprisingly enough, that location was bombed again about 4, 5, 6 months later. And it happened again and again. At the end of the war, Germany had such a shortage of oil that the most advanced plane the German had, the first active fighter, was a jet plane called the Me-262, didn't have enough oil to run proper training for its pilot. There was a very limited training for the pilots for this jet plane, like all the other Luftwaffe of Germany. They were really unexperienced pilots at the end, and they were shot from the sky so quickly by the American Mustangs that at the end there was a total supremacy in the air for the United States and Britain. So this man, after the end of the war, when it was revealed that he was an American spy, was admired by his friends again and by his brother. And President Truman at the end of the war said that this man, Ericson, have shortened the war in about 1 year. Now try to imagine how many lives this man saved by doing that. In the period of time of World War II, about 60 million lost their life. So if the war would have lasted another 1 year, We are talking about few million people more. This man saved millions of people's life. Now I'm saying that because the United States and Britain didn't supply Nazi Germany with oil. It were trying as hard as they can to bomb those factories and to starve Germany from petrol and from oil. And strangely enough, the whole world, governments and people are demanding Israel to supply oil to Hamas in Gaza. Something that didn't happen in any war in the world. In the history of war, from the beginning till today, no country ever gave aid to its enemies. But Israel is being demanded. Why don't you give them oil? And the reason? We need electricity to run the generator of the hospitals. Well, the simple answer is very simple. Send as much aid, oil, or whatever you want, not from Israel. What is this demand that is supposed to make Israel something different? This double standard of the world. There is a border between Gaza and Egypt. There is a crossing in Rafah, and send from there whatever you want: oil, food, medicines, water, whatever is needed. So when I listen to young woke leftist protesters saying Israel is starving Gaza, Israel doesn't have any responsibility for doing so. And if we have a really stupid government, is that this government, instead of saying two things at the beginning of the war, which would have made the whole thing different in the views of the world, should have said, first of all, we are not giving anything to Gaza, we're not giving anything to Hamas, but we are, according to the international law, we are not doing anything to stop this humanitarian aid. This is the international law. No country need to give aid to its enemy. The Russians are not giving aid to Ukraine, the US not giving aid to the Houthis, and there's no reason at all why Israel is being demanded by so many people and so many governments around the world to give aid to its enemy. Send as much aid as you want from Egypt, and that's it. And Israel would have saved its bad name now around the world for something that we don't have to do. Now, the true story is that although we don't have to do that, we are allowing more than 200 trucks of humanitarian aid to come to northern Gaza from Israel. We don't want to see people suffering. And the spokesman of the government was saying we are doing everything we can to facilitate and make it fast, because in Rafah it takes long time and there's lots of corruption. Do you know that the humanitarian organization who bring aid to Gaza are paying about $5,000 for each truck of food that they bring to Gaza? So not only they are bringing them free food, they have to pay for that for corrupt Egyptian, like what is happening today. If people from Gaza want to leave Gaza and go away to any other countries in the world, they can do it through Egypt in one condition: if they have $6,000-7,000, they can go. They don't have, they are stuck. The second thing that the Israeli government is so stupid from day one in this war, they should have said that Hamas built the best bomb shelter in the world. About 350 miles of tunnels under Gaza could have put all the people in Gaza in what we call the metro, because it's like an underground railway. It's longer than the New York system and also the British system of subways. So we call it the metro. And like the Britain in World War II, where all the citizens were going down to the metro station, to the subway station, this is what the Gazans should have done. The only simple reason why they couldn't is because Hamas is not allowing them to do so. And it's not something that they hide. There was an interview with the leader of Hamas who says, these tunnels are just for our protection. The people above The United Nations is supposed to protect them. I mean, what kind of government is not protecting its own people? It's unbelievable. The government of Israel did two important things about it. First of all, by law, from the beginning of our country, every house, every building in Israel must have a bomb shelter. In the beginning, it used to be under the building, in the underground part of the building. There was a bomb shelter with a heavy metal door and iron closing to the windows. Today, since the rockets are coming so fast, for instance, if you lived in the kibbutzim near Gaza, you had from the time you hear the sirens and the announcements of a red color. Red color announcement means rockets are coming on you. So they had only 12 seconds. So in every house, and it's now by law in Israel, there must be a one room with only one window which you can shut with a very heavy metal uh, frame, and the walls are thicker and kind of protecting you against bombs. Now, let me remind you that since 2007 till today, now it's, thanks God, almost gone, more than 20,000 missiles were launched on Israeli civilians. And the second thing the Israel government did, they approved a big budget together with the United States to create the system of defending against missiles. The lower level is called the Iron Dome, and it's very effective. More than 95, 98% there are success in intercepting missiles. Then this is just for the lower flying rockets. Medium flying rockets, we have something that we call David Sling, which protect this kind of missiles. And ballistic missiles, like when the Iranians were launching in Israel a couple of days ago, we have what is called Arrow. Arrow is the first and the only real protection against ballistic missiles. So Israel is protecting its people. Gaza, Hamas is not protecting its people. Hamas is already happy to see his own people killed. Why? Because they bring the sympathy of the world, and everybody is calling for ceasefire immediately, and everybody is blaming Israel for all kind of things which we don't do. I really urge you to search in the internet and on YouTube a man called John Spencer. He is a professor in West Point, and his specialty all his life he studied urban warfare. So I urge you to see why he said that not only Israel is not killing lots of people in Gaza, Israel is killing a lot less than any other army in the world, and he called the Israeli army. It's him, a professor in this matter, not me, who say Israeli army is the most moral army in the world. I'll make a short summary of what he says. He said that in Mosul, in Iraq, the US Marines, in order to eradicate and kill 3,500 ISIS in Mosul, have killed 10,000 civilians and maybe more. 10,000 means for every ISIS man they killed 3 civilians, which is also good because according to Professor John Stewart, the usual numbers of civilians being killed during urban wars are 9 civilians are being killed to any one single combattant. Now let's move to Gaza, and let's even pretend that we take the ridiculous number, made up numbers of Hamas of 30,000 people being dead. I mean, just remember that this number is, of course, just a made up number. Let's say it's true. At least 13,000 of them were Hamas, the terrorists who were killed by Israel. This is the reason why we have this whole operation, to eradicate Hamas. So it's not 30,000, it's 17,000. But never mind, let's say 30,000. In order to get the same result as the American in Mosul, Israel is fighting 35,000 Hamas terrorists in Gaza. So that's 10 times more, 35,000 compared to 3,500. So if we would have done exactly the same like the Marines in Mosul, we would have killed 10 times more. Not 30,000 civilians should have been dead right now. They should have been 300,000 Gazan dead uh, in this war. I mean, of course, this is not happening. Not even though 30,000 is not happening, but everybody blame Israel. I mean, everybody. I see so many, mainly woke leftists running in the street shouting genocide, genocide, genocide. They call Biden Genocide Joe. They shout in every corner genocide, genocide, genocide. While, of course, everybody knows that when the Syrian regime of Hafez Assad slaughtered, burned, and destroyed more than 500,000 of its own people, none of them said a word. They are so called humanitarian only when Jews are involved. But we already all know that no Jews, no news. That's the sad story of the situation. But the good thing that I see from all this war is not only that we are advancing and advancing and succeeding, the good thing that I see is more and more in the West, people are waking up to see the danger of these jihadist Islamists who, according to their religion, have to conquer the whole world. I remember on Israeli TV the interview the founder of Hamas, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. He was on a wheelchair, spent many years in Israeli prison, and Israeli TV crew came and interviewed him, and they asked him, "What are you going to go to do when they will release you from prison?" He didn't say, "I'm gonna become a better person. I'm gonna change my life." No, no, no. He said, "I'm gonna destroy Israel first, and then I'm going to go and send my people to conquer the whole of the United States and turn it into a Muslim nation." Those failed Muslim nations is what they think is the best thing that is happening to liberate the West from its terrible situation. Just remember that in Lebanon, inflation is about 90%. The value of the money is coming almost to nothing. Remember that in Egypt, the inflation is right now 36%, and the inflation is not correspondent with the salaries that the people get. So they get every year 30% less for their money. It's mean to buy food costs them a lot more, and more people are not able to supply themselves with decent living and decent food. This is what they're trying to give us. So not only this is the real mole army who really protect civilians. Have you ever heard of any other army that before it starts a war is sending leaflets from the air and direct phone calls, because we have probably all the phone numbers of the people in Gaza. So they made 15 million phone calls to the people of Gaza, tell them go to the safe zone, which is to the west of Rafah, close to the border with Egypt, where the aid can come, and this place you are going to be saved. So I'm sure that at least 98% of the people of Gaza are being there. You are head of a family. You're gonna keep your wife and kids in harm's way and get them killed just to make Hamas happy? Of course, no. You go and save your life and you save your family. So most of them, and if they're not there, sorry, we have warned you. We told you what to do to save your life. If you're not there, it's really your own problem. So I am really waiting for the moment this war will end, and a real organization from outside Gaza will go and count the number of people who were killed in this war, and you were all surprised. It's much, much less, in my understanding, than 10,000, even smaller than that. Remember last operation called Tzuk Eitan, the fortified rock? Hamas said there were 25,000 dead Gazan. At the end of that operation, it was found to be 2,500, no more. Hamas said that Israel attacked a hospital, Al Shifa hospital in Gaza, and 500 people were killed. I mean, in less than 1 minute after it happened, they already had enough time in 1 minute to count and to get exactly to 500. Not 499, not 501, exactly 500 in less than a minute. Ooh, they are geniuses, those people. At the end, it was found out that it was not Israeli attack, it was a failed Islamic jihadist missile. It was not a hospital that was bombed, it was a parking lot, and something between 50 to 100 people were killed by failed missiles because about a quarter, 25% of the rockets are falling on Gaza and killing many of their own people. So this is a story that the most small army in the world, who's doing things that no other country does. It gives aid to its enemies. It gives warning, exact warning, what time we are going to attack. And then they say, oh, you want the whole city to evacuate? It's impossible, too difficult. No problem. Israel sent them maps, and they said, in this neighborhood, we're going to attack tomorrow at 10 a.m. You better move out from this neighborhood. So only one neighborhood by another were to evacuate. We do all these things, and you see so many people protesting and calling Israel genocide, genocide, genocide. The interesting thing is that the only people who are not protesting against Israel are those 2 million Palestinians, Arab Israelis. We have 2 million, 20% of our population are Arab speaking Muslims, and they're not protesting. First of all, they have a really good life in so-called apartheid Israel, which is nonsense. We work together, we study together. I was a graduate of the Haifa University, where more than 20% of the students are Muslims, and we study and we are working together. We are riding the buses together. So we are having picnics in the park near where I live. Muslim, Jews, Christians, Druze, no real problem. And the second thing, they also, like the Israelis, have suffered because about 30 Muslims in the Negev desert were killed by Hamas. There are still some Muslims who were kidnapped and are not returned to their families among the other hostages. And when they heard about the atrocities and they saw the atrocities Hamas made, they say, "Oh, we don't want these people to so-called liberate us, and we will be under their rule," because they know the truth. They have relatives in Gaza and relatives in the West Bank. They talk to them and they hear their stories. So this is our side of the story, and I hope that you have learned something about this Ericson, World War II, humanitarian aid, and this nonsense story of genocide. Thank you for listening. I will try to do some more in a different day.